What is up, good people? I am just now getting out of work, and normally I'd be heading home. But tonight I'm heading to a hotel in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And not because the wife kicked me out for pissing her off. This whole thing was her idea. She decided, since the kids are going back to school next week, and these are the last couple of days of summer break for them, she wanted to give them one last little fun memory before they head on back into the world of academic rigor, such as it is for 6 and 7 year olds. And I'm fine with that. If she's paying for it, yeah, I'll go along. Anyway, so since I have a little bit of time on my hands before I get to the hotel, I wanted to make a video about a subject a little different than my usual fare here. I want to talk about money, and I want to talk about two aspects of it. I want to talk about having too much of it, and talk about not having enough of it. I've experienced the latter. I would dearly love to experience the former. But I guess you heard that, I want to say there in Florida, that somebody won that 1.55 billion with a B mega ball prize. And I'm just like, can you imagine what that must feel like? You go to bed one day, broke as a joke, paycheck to paycheck, and the next day you wake up and you got more money than your kids are ever going to know what to do with. Just the sheer change in your life, just everything upside down all of a sudden. And just what would you do? I want to say that my first purchase would be new underwear to replace the ones that I pissed in the moment I found out I won the prize. You know, they say that the vast majority of lottery winners end up broke. And they say that's because it's your mentality. They say if you're not good with money when you don't have it, you're not going to be good with money when you do have it. And that makes a certain degree of sense. It's why you have like families that are just old wealth. You know, their whole culture is they have a different relationship with money, and they know how to get it, they know how to keep it, and they teach their kids that. And that's an education that's lost on the vast majority of Americans. It's certainly not really stressed all that much in our public education system. And there's a reason for that. And I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to go off onto a whole conspiracy tangent. But I definitely have some very strong opinions about why it's set up that way. But I got to thinking about that. So let's say, 1.55 billion. Now, if you take the lump sum versus the 20-year annuity, you're pretty much going to cut that shit in half right there. And that's still before taxes. So I'm thinking after taxes, and I'm just spitballing here. I don't know the exact figures, but I imagine the winner's going to walk away with something along the order of 500 to 600 million, free and clear. Maybe a little less than that. But anyway, we're still talking about money in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, I guess it really depends on what you want in life and how much of a show-off you are as to whether or not you go through that money quickly. And not that I'm anything special, but I would like to think that I wouldn't burn through that money. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't really want a lot of things. Even if I had the money for them, I don't want a Lamborghini. I don't want it now. I wouldn't want it if I was Bill Gates rich. To me, I look at cars, they're a utility to get from A to B. That's it. I don't have any interest in them. Beyond that, not a car guy, don't care. I don't want a mansion now. I don't want a yacht now. But I'll tell you what I do want. I just want to be able to wake up without an alarm clock. I know that sounds silly, but I just want to not have to fucking set one. I just want to get up when I get up and be able to go about my day. Just enjoy life. I think this is going to run afoul of some of my more right-wing politic holding friends. But I think our entire capitalist system is just kind of, it's fucked up when you think about it. We go to school and we're trained to be on time, to study, because you want that good job, because you want that good paycheck. And basically, our entire lives up to early adulthood trains us to accept the notion that all we're good for is, and all we're worth is our ability to produce. And produce what? And to produce it for who? Because the vast majority of us, we hold jobs, we're just producing wealth for other people that already have wealth. And being given a two weeks worth of vacation time per year is seen as a benefit. So that's 2 weeks of the year where you actually just get to live your life without much in the way of responsibilities. The other 50 weeks of the year, I don't know. To me, that's the appeal of money, though. It's just the freedom that it buys. The freedom to just pursue your passions, to just, dictate the use of your time and not have to dedicate it to not having to dedicate it to the enrichment of others, I think my big expenditure probably would be on travel. I think things are well and good. Material stuff, shit comes, shit goes. But on your deathbed, they say nobody ever wishes they'd spent more time at work. I think on their deathbed, nobody's worried about all the shit they accumulated over the course of their life. It's the memories that they treasure. My wife and I were talking about this recently, and she said that she'd much rather spend money on giving our kids good memories than giving them fancy toys that they're not going to care about. And I think that's absolutely spot on, and I applaud her for that. My wife is a very smart lady. Now, far smarter than I in some regards. Now, I would question her intelligence because, she chose to marry me on purpose. That wasn't too bright. But she did it. And I'm glad she did. Anyway, man, I've really gone off the rails. And see, this is what happens when I'm just speaking as words pop into my head. I definitely got that, just my train of thought, such as it is. But the people that win lotteries, I just don't understand the going broke part. Well, let's think about this. Let's just say that this person who won the Mega Millions walks away with $400 million after taxes. All right. Well, now you have savings accounts that yield 1% a year, and that's a low figure, 1%. But let's just say you put $1 million in. At 1% a year, that's $10,000 in interest. Okay, well, you have $400 million. You sock back, say, $20 million of that just into that account, yielding 1% a year. That's $200,000 a year in interest. Now, granted, you're going to have to pay taxes on that, but that's... If you can't live really well, really well, like a damn king off of $200,000 a year when you don't have any debt, something is just terribly amiss in your judgment and your value system. I do fantasize about having that kind of money. Another thing I would like to do, not just traveling, and I certainly would want to do that, and I'd want to give my kids great memories. I'd like to use it to help people. I've always had a fantasy about opening up a really service-rich women and children shelter. I think there's always going to be a need for that. And I love kids, and I love helping people out. And I think that would be great. That there's definitely philanthropic pursuits that I would personally find very fulfilling. Because I don't think even with that kind of money that I could just do nothing. That doesn't click with me either. I can't imagine just not doing something. I would love to have that kind of money, not only for the lifestyle it would afford me to live, in terms of just living, but for what it would enable me to do for others, that it will allow me to choose what I do with my time. I don't know, it's a nice fantasy. I always said that if I won that kind of money, I have a list of 10 people that I would make instant millionaires. I think I would initially have to change my phone number, though, like immediately. Because it is true, you know, when you come into money like that, you're all of a sudden going to be badgered by friends and family, including ones you never knew you had before. I don't know. It's fun to think about. Anyway, moving on. Other side of money is not having enough. I fall into that camp. And you know, I try to invest. I invest a lot in crypto and precious metals. Well, I say a lot, but a lot relative to what I make. I certainly have my fair share of debt. But I do have a vice. Some people it's drugs, some people it's alcohol, some people it's golf. For me, it's collecting video games. Hence this channel, Pick Your Battles Collecting. I do love collecting video games, and I do love collecting, you know, vintage electronics. And you know, anybody that's in those hobbies can tell you they're quite pricey. They can get pricey real quick. And I had made a promise to myself at the start of this year I was going to dial back on spending on my collections. And I was actually doing really well. And then a friend of mine from high school, damn you, Jimmy, love you to death, but damn you, introduced me to the Whatnot app. If you're not familiar, and if you're like in my age bracket, there's a good chance that you're not, because, you know, we don't keep abreast of all the shiny new apps that the young whippersnappers gravitate towards. If you've been on eBay for any amount of time, then you know how online auctions work. So Whatnot, as the best way I could describe it, is eBay, but instead of static listings, the auctions are live and they're streamed, and you can interact with the sellers and other potential buyers. And the deals on there are absolutely freaking insane. You do have a lot of cats on there that 100% are going to try to make what eBay and price charting would dictate is market value. But there's a lot of sellers on there that I've found that, you know, they're willing to throw their games and their hardware up on there, and they're willing to sell it even if it comes in under market value. And I think it's freaking fantastic, and it is addictive as crack. Sometimes I just sit there and I'll just watch an auction, even if I have no intention of participating or buying anything. It's endlessly entertaining just to watch. And the great thing about the auctions is that, you know, it's more often than not, they're usually just in 30-second clips, and then we're on to the next item. And I'm ashamed to say that the first weekend that I was on the app, I spent $200. To quote a very wise sage from the 1980s, the great Qbert, you know, folks, if you're trying to hold on to your money, stay away from Whatnot. It's very, very dangerous. Dangerous to your wallet, anyway. That's really all I had bubbling around in this head of mine, and I am about halfway to this hotel now, and traffic's starting to get really, really hairy. And matter of fact, I tried shooting this video once before, and this complete asshat just starts coming into my lane. And it's not like they were in front of or in back of me. They were right beside me, and they're like, fuck you, coming over. Almost ran me off the damn road. And I may include a clip of that moment because I got very, very animated. Anyway, I hope you fine people have a fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy your families, make some good memories, play some good games. And as always, I not only encourage, I beseech you, please, if this video and my verbal diarrhea contributed any amount of entertainment to your life, hit the like button. And please subscribe. At this point, I've set a goal for myself of 50 subscribers by the end of the year. Please make it happen. Take it easy, y'all. Kids are going back to school next week. Summer, as far as summer break goes, it's officially. God! Fucking heifer! Asshole! God damn! This motherfucker behind me just. Oh, I fucking hate people! Just come swerving in my lane, not even looking. Oh, I want to give him the finger so bad, but I'm trying to be somewhat of a better person. Oh.